What's up, guys? October 7th here, and just want to say thanks to everyone that liked and commented on my early fall bass fishing video, the techniques and tactics. I didn't think it would get that much attention, but it did, so thank you for those who watched. I wanted to make this follow-up video on fall bass fishing techniques, tactics, and baits. The leaves are changing, it's cold, shorter days, so I wanted to do something a little different for this video. Instead of, just giving you guys a bunch of baits, X, Y, and Z, and saying that these work during the fall, I kind of want to change it up and just, have a bunch of baits with me that I would throw during fall, or potentially would throw during this time of year, and go fish with them. And then at the end of the day, go over what worked. Because honestly, even though there are certain baits that work better certain times of year, it's never concrete. The fish are always changing. They're always doing something different depending on where you are, the weather, the body of water. So I didn't want to jump to any conclusions and say to you guys that these baits are the ones that are going to work during the fall. I'm assuming that a lot of the fish are schooled up, and they should be pretty easy to catch, but again, we'll see what happens. So stay tuned for some fall bass fishing. So just a little note for you guys, fall bass fishing, if you guys have access to it, I would definitely fish bridges that are off the main lake. So we got right here a couple bridges. It's hard structure, and it's, Seneca Lake's right there, but a lot of the time in the fall there's a certain window, it's usually a couple weeks, where a lot of the fish from the main lake will kind of school up on these bridges or underneath them and feed. I sometimes think of this fall bass fishing kind of like pre-spawn fishing. You're getting a lot of fish from the main lake, and they're essentially looking to move shallow to feed for the winter and then move back out deep, and they're using those kind of same pre-spawn transition points in the bridge, underneath bridges, where it kind of funnels bait fish, makes them easy targets. It's a perfect location for not only pre-spawn but definitely the fall. So I noticed this too last week at the Onondaga tournament. Unfortunately, I got on this bridge pattern like with 15 minutes left in the tournament, because it was right by the check-in, and I just fished it right before I checked in, and there was tons of fish under those bridges too. The point is, don't overlook bridges for fall bass fishing, because if they're under there could be a lot of them. going?
Hey, give a shout out to my boy Zach.
All right, will do.
He follows you.
Just had someone call my name out, and I turned around and I didn't recognize who it was, but I shouldn't have, because I don't believe I know the gentleman, but it was actually a father of one of my subscribers. So I'm going to give a shout out to Zach. Zach, thanks for watching the videos. I appreciate your support, and maybe someday I'll get to go fishing with you. Well guys, I've been on the water for about 4 or 5 hours, and yeah, I mean, it's typical fall bass fishing. They're grouped up. They're all pretty small. There's tons of them, but there's definitely some big fish in the mix of these schools. You can see there's an abundance of bait. Them eating is not a problem. There's just so much forage in this canal, and you know, I think a lot of even my smaller bites are just reaction strikes and throwing a lot of moving baits. So we're gonna keep fishing. I'm gonna go back through a few areas where I saw some big ones, throw a couple different baits, and see if we can at least catch a couple nice ones today. But it's still a fun day, catching lots of fish, but that's typical fall bass fishing for you. Well guys, that was a really fun day of fishing. No big fish caught, but just numbers. My hands are torn to pieces. I did sift through all the footage and get a tally on every single bass I caught and how many I caught on each bait. So I'll show you a little screenshot right here. I don't want to go over every single bait and every single setup that I used today, because there was a lot of them. It was kind of like junk fishing, to be honest. So I will include all of that information in the description below. And I'm going to give you a quick run through of every single bait that I caught fish on today. Most fish caught today was on the drop shot, Z-drop, Zoom Z-drop. I threw a SPRO McRip 85, one of my favorite jerk baits for getting it a little bit deeper. This is a SPRO medium diver crankbait. I really like these flat-sided crankbaits. When the water gets cooler, I think it just triggers more strikes. We've got a Mepps inline spinner. I believe this is one of the most underutilized baits today. You know, it's a classic bait. It's an inline spinner. Mepps always catches fish, and I don't know, I think a lot of people have forgotten about it, and I just really like throwing this bait in the fall, and especially when the fish are schooled up. Didn't catch too many on the Whopper Plopper, but this is the Whopper Plopper. This is the 90 size. And then I caught a bunch of fish on a swim jig. This is the Strike King KVD Swim Jig. This is the 1/2 ounce. I use the same trailer I use for a chatterbait, and this is the Gary Yamamoto Swim Senko trailer in a pearl color. The one thing that I'll do with this trailer for a swim jig is I'll make it real short. I'll cut like half of the Swim Senko off and just thread the last half on. And just make it real compact. And you know, this is a great little bait for fall as well. So I threw a ton of baits today, got bites on all of them, and you know, it was mainly finding a big school of fish. I mean, I found a school of hundreds of bass, and yeah, most of them were small. There were a few big ones in there that I couldn't get to bite, but you know, the key for me today was actually switching baits and catching them on different things and showing them different presentations. And that's probably true for all schools of bass. You know, there's certain populations of that school that will eat something different, and you got to change it up. You can't just try to catch them all on a crankbait or on a drop shot. So those are all great baits for fall, especially when you find a school of bass. You can really change it up on them. You can really just show them something different, and you know, depending on their mood, they might bite something more than the other, but it's something to kind of work off of. So yeah, give those baits a try, especially if you find some schooled up bass, and always remember, you know, switch it up on them. Don't always throw the same thing and then just give up and move on. Throw different things. You know, you got to show them different presentations, and it should be a way to put more fish in the boat.